Okay, I want to talk about the perspective wave height to this perspective height of the viewer. Um, in this footage right here, I was on the Hernando Beach Islands, and there's these little cuts that cut in between the islands. And all depending on which way the water is being blown in and the tide, the way the tide's going, whether it's going out. On the back side of this channel, it's cut deep. They dredged it out, for the boats, the big boats, the shrimp boats and all to go through because they can't go out Bayport. Bayport, the water is just too shallow for these big boats to go up into and come out of. Um, but a lot of times you can actually see with your own eyes. You can go there, and the water gets blown up into this bay, and prospectively, it's higher than the water on the other side of these islands because the islands act as a like a dam, and the openings are like a spillway, and the water rushes out. So I'm getting my camera down here real low to the water, and going to show you really, really low perspective. And I'm on kind of, you can see these rocks are a little higher than I am right here, but they, gradually drop down out there into the water. And I'm trying to get into a good spot to kind of show you how the water is a little higher on the backside of the island. But it is really hard to show, especially because my camera is so low to the water. But you'll also see that these closer waves will block out a lot of that background, all depending on, again, on your perspective view, your height of your camera. So being that I have my camera real low to the water, you'll see it blocking out quite a bit of the horizon. Now right here I'm backing out. I'm going to show you that little spillway right here between the two islands. And you can actually see how that water is a little bit higher coming up over the shallow water there. It actually causes the water to lift. If you look into, you know, uh, how water forms waves, like in Hawaii, you got deep water coming into shallow reefs. That water gets lifted up, and with the right wind, it can create monster waves. Here I've got the camera up about waist high, um, zooming into the Hernando Beach house area over here, and I'm actually shooting the backside of these islands and the channel markers. Um, and I'm hand holding the camera, so I apologize for the wiggleness. I can't get my camera down this low with on a tripod. Now I'm actually using the B700 P or B700 Nikon camera to do this. It's a little smaller camera, a little easier to handle. Um, and I'm actually showing you that there's real clouds in the sky today on this day. And this was filmed, let me see, I think it was 11/21, 2019. And right now, too, I'm going to start zooming in and really giving you a different perspective. And actually, you can see these rocks are a little higher than the water itself, but I'm kind of on an angle looking downward over them. But as you can see, I'm almost eye level with the land on the other side. All right. And you can see how these waves will block out the distance, um, the land in the distance back there. I will get it in better focus here. I was just kind of trying to focus on the water, but it kept focusing on the rocks right in front of me until I zoom in here a little bit and then get my camera up a little bit higher. But obviously, you can see these. I mean, even these little bit of water, little waves coming up. And I'm telling you, folks, these waves weren't very high at all. But obviously, you can tell how much in the background. So, the farther we look on an angle, these waves will eventually start blocking out because it's your angular resolution that, again, causes some issues too, where you can't focus properly on that distant horizon, like in some of my videos where I'm showing the land beyond the the 3 islands north of Pine Island. You know, my angular resolution a lot of times is obscured by either the wave height or by the atmospheric conditions. Now here you can obviously see these little waves, this little splashing going on. Even further out there, you can see some of the waves blocking out the shoreline. This is what we're talking about with angular resolution, folks. It does have something to do with obscuring our vision into the horizon. And this is what people don't take into consideration. And this is also something that they don't teach you at the schools. They will not teach you at the schools. Here I am. I'm going to get a really good focus on that far background, and you can see how these waves and swells are blocking out the distant land, folks. It's no secret, and it's basically simple stuff, common sense stuff when you really start investigating it on your own and doing these types of observations. Now think of me at this height, trying to film something, you know, 20-30 miles away. When I was doing this video, I brought up Sandra from Cool Pics P900 channel. She does some wonderful observations, and she does some, you know, low perspective videos too. And she's also got some really long distance shots, real close to the water. I forget, I think it's the Island of Man she films. And that's, they use kilometers, so I'm not sure how many miles it is, but it's a long distance, and she's at a low perspective filming this on a good day of visibility. And that's what it takes. Visibility is the key. The better the visibility, the better the angular resolution. The better the angular resolution, the less mirroring you get. But one of the things that I have noticed is all depending on which way you're looking sometimes. Like if I look north, sometimes I have better visibility north of me than I do south of me. And somebody might say, why? Well, I know for a fact because my father-in-law used to live in Pasco County and I lived up in Hernando, and there would be a 10-degree difference from where he lived than where I live. And vice versa. People that are up in Citrus or up towards Chassahowiska, their water is, or their temperature is cooler than my temperature. So wherever it is that the water temperature and the air temperature are the same is where I'm going to get my better visibility. And then I have noticed too that this lensing effect or magnification effect does also have a lot to do with pulling things down, blocking things out, and being an obscurity to our vision. And another thing too, it would be good to put this on slow motion because of all the wiggling. Like I said, I'm freehanding it. But if you put this on slow motion, I mean, look at there. You can see all the way across to these seawalls at this low perspective. And these are a couple miles away from where I'm located. I'm located on the very last island that you can get on in Hernando Beach. And then I also did some footage where you can see these rocks at the other end of this island where there's just little rock islands sticking up. The rock islands don't stick up very high, but I actually have filmed those rocks from Pine Island, which is 4.84 miles away, where I could see those rocks in the water. And they're barely sticking up. And I'm at 28 inches at Pine Island. So again, depending on the visibility, you can't see nothing. Now here I'm shooting at this low perspective all the way over to Pine Island, which you can actually start seeing this mirroring effect, how it actually smears it down. And if you go into a fun house, you see mirrors, they'll either cause you to be long and stretchy or short and squatty. That's compression and stretching, which does happen over the water, but it can only stretch something that it sees. It's not going to stretch something that the camera can't see. So I do not have a magical camera that can see around curves. Thank you very much for watching, folks.